Well, hello there. Thought I'd jump on, 5 minutes early? Maybe we could do a roll call. I know you'd all love a roll call, wouldn't you? Or are we... Oh no, are we not doing that? Nah, fuck it. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. A lot going on, isn't there? A lot going on as normal. Do we ever get a peaceful life? Let's close this. Try and keep an eye on, keep an ear on stuff. Try and get rid of that. I am. Someone's excited. Someone's got to be excited, look. I am indeed. I'm live. Don't really go live too often. Lives isn't for everyone, are they? People like short, sharp bursts of information. How is the screen? Are we good? Picture good? Sound good? What is everyone doing? Let's have a look. Yeah. Well, let's have a look. What do we got? Who we got in? What mods we got? Dope. Hello, Dope. Tracy. Sugar and Spice. We have some mods. Just in case the glare comes over. Or would it be better to go,
the glare?
No. I think the deeper one. Are you from the UK? I am. I am indeed. I am indeed from the UK. Boofering. Not showing boofering this end. Might be, is everyone getting boofering? Mia has become a member. Thank you very much. So tonight we've got an hour of critical thinking. Critical thinking. Because I've been thinking about things. What was that? Ethan Chapin's family has now criticised Dylan for not calling 911. Yes, because, and I'll tell you why I think this is happening. I think this is happening because if you really think about that story, it doesn't really make sense. And I think when the dust settles and all the emotions kind of start to relax and people sit back and think about the situation, it just doesn't make sense. And I know that some people, they want to think, do you know what, this does make sense, it's normal, this girl was in shock, so on and so forth. Not everyone's going to buy that. I spoke about this before, didn't I, about, PTSD and, and all these things, and people who have said about, being in shock and how that would affect them. And we're not talking about an hour delay, we're talking about 8 hours. And 8 hours is excessive. Oh, I must make sure that I pronounce words correctly, because we get, you get people who criticise for you not saying things right. A thumbs down. I hope that was an error. A thumbs down. What do we got? So, right, look, this is what I'm going to say. I'm concerned, and I'm going to talk to you about something that I'm concerned about with regards to the night itself, what actually happened. But before we do that, we just got to look at this other case quickly. It's a UK case. I know some of you are familiar with it because you've been over and probably listened to Grizzly talking about it. And that is this case, which is the Nicola Bulley case. Now, Nicola is missing. She went missing just over a week ago. Last Friday, she went missing while walking her dog. Now, it's difficult to know what's going on with this because there is no information whatsoever. We've got a lady who went out, took her kids to school, left the car at school, went to walk down by a river with her dog. She sat at a bench and it would look like she jumped onto a conference call, a call of some description with her work, and there she then vanishes into the ether. People have thought, look, maybe the dog went into the water and she went to get the dog, but the dog was found and the dog was dry, so it would appear that the dog didn't enter the water. People were then saying, look, the dog could have been playing with a ball. She went to get a ball and fell into the water trying to retrieve the ball for the dog. But friends have now come forward and said, look, she wouldn't have walked the dog with the ball because while the dog loved the ball was a bit of a pain in the arse when she walked the dog with the ball, so the ball wouldn't have been there. So that kind of knocked that on the head. So I'm struggling to... I don't want to say anything or speculate because, it would be presumptuous to sort of say anything at this stage. There's not really anything that looks nefarious in terms of anyone around her. People have speculated that perhaps there was difficulties at home. They've speculated about financial difficulties, and from what I can see of that looks like that was rubbish. There seems to be a delay of some description in them. What you have to do in the UK is you have till the end of January to submit your financial statements for the year, and it looks like that was running late. But Jesus, most people run late in the UK because we're slow as fuck at doing anything. So I don't say that's odd. But I can't see why you should have approached the water. You know, it's not like it was a shared... You wouldn't. You wouldn't, you know. But people have fallen in there before and never been found. That's the issue. I believe there was a young lad who fell in there years ago, and they pretty much know he fell in there, but they were never able to find him. So it's a possibility. But again, you always come back to the same thing, the why. Why would she have approached the water? Was she going after the dog and the dog was down by the water and, you know, she slipped? The weather in the UK is crap. You know, most of the time it's wet. It would have been slippery around there. It's possible. And at this stage, I think that still is the most likely thing, that she slipped and fallen in this water. The downside is if she has, there is a chance that she just won't be found. But we'll wait and see what happens. But like I say, some of her friends have come forward. They've given 11 things. Let me just look on here. I took them down, and it was 11 points that were in response to a lot of speculation around the case. And they've put, look, 11 facts. So Nicola and Paul... both mostly work from home, which is why he was at home that day, and the house actually has CCTV. So I'm guessing that the CCTV will support the fact that Paul would have been at home. They both do walk regularly, and Paul is very well known in the community and very well recognised. So I'm guessing that means that if he was out there at any time, someone's likely to have seen him. The dog Willow never has her harness on for a chunk of that walk. It's removed at the gate of the top field and then put back on at the gate when they return. They very rarely take the ball out. This is the bit about the ball for walks with Willow, and haven't done for a while because she is protective over the ball. And this is what I was saying about that walk. That becomes more of a ball ache taking it, no pun intended. Nicola would often put her phone on loudspeaker when talking because the phone was found on the bench, I believe. Some people have said that's odd. Others have said, no, it's not really. The dog was found very close to both the bench and the harness was found on the floor, not on the bench. Nicola is an incredibly strong swimmer, so I'm guessing whether they're trying to then speculate if she'd have fallen in the water, she would have been able to get herself out of a muddle. So again, that then kind of adds the question, did she then not slip in the water? She drove to the school to drop her 2 daughters off and then left her car there and walked to the river. The dog was dry when it was found. The dog has since been back. There's CCTV at the back of the caravan park, and the only camera that isn't working is the one camera that would have seen everything. Is that just coincidental, or, something else? But that is where we stand at the moment. But obviously there's a lot of theories going on. You can see that here. So I get me back on the screen. There's a lot of, you know what it's like, guys. You know what it's like. Some people have said, how close was the bench to the water? The bench wasn't like right on the water's edge. There's a distance between them. Gate and bench where the dog. There's a little map here where you can see. So it's not right on the water's edge. You would have had to have got up and walked probably 100, 50, between 50 and 100 yards, I'm guessing, to the end of the water's edge. But we shall wait. We'll see what happens, and hopefully she will be found safe. We don't get many cases like that in the UK that are televised and get covered like this. So, let's all keep our fingers crossed. I am keeping an eye on it. I know I haven't done a massive amount about it, and that's purely because I'm in the UK, the case is in the UK, and there isn't a lot to talk about, guys. There really isn't. And at this stage, with it being not too far away from where we are, it's not, it's a couple of hours drive or so, it's not relevant at this stage to say anything. I've got thoughts about it, I've got feelings about it, but until more happens, I'm not going to say too much. We shall see what happens in the next couple of days or so. There is a witness who has apparently come forward. What they've seen, we don't know yet. They have said that it could be an absolute nutcase. What the crazies all start coming out, but we don't know. We're going to have to wait. But back over to Moscow, Idaho. I'm going to nip into chat. Let's have a look and see who's in chats. CDT, hello. Who else have we got in? Dixie, hello Dixie. We've got another mod in the house, just in case we get some moodies in. Hopefully we won't get any moodies in. Are there any moodies in the house? We've only got 1 thumbs down, so I don't think we've got too many, and we don't tend to get too many in either. But the Idaho case, there's a lot of stuff going on. Even though you wouldn't have expected there to be a lot going on, there is a lot going on. And I think, like I say, as it's starting to settle, the initial shock of what's happened, and now people are having to process the process, that's now where people are starting to become more frustrated. It's a bit... The downside is it's contagious, isn't it? Like people were saying earlier, some of these victims' parents are now starting to get upset and angry with Dylan. But you have to question it. You do have to question it, because I do concern myself with, even if Dylan is genuine and honest, her actions could, in theory, help the defense. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, we have all heard that they haven't put anything forward, and they've not said that there is anything to prove that he is innocent. And, and people said that's a bit weird. It's not weird. It's not weird at all that they haven't put anything forward, because they don't have to. It's the state have to prove him guilty. And at the end of the day, they also have to prove that he did the crime. It's not even about just proving he was there. They have to prove that he went there and he went through with what happened. And that's a completely different kettle of fish. You know, that's to say that he was there is not saying he's the person who did it. And that's where this problem comes with Dylan. And this is where the critical mind comes into it. Because this is what I'm thinking, right? So what do we know? What do we know? Well, we know that Dylan has said that she saw somebody in the house. We also know that she said she heard some things, didn't she? She heard some things like people talking. She thought she'd heard someone playing with the dog. She thought she heard someone whisper, "I'm here to help. I'm here to help." But the person was wearing a mask, so did they take the mask off? "I'm here to help." Were they talking through the mask? But to hear them say that, you know, she heard that. She heard it. And this is what I struggle with. This is the bit that I struggle with. Because we believe there's someone else in the house who I'm guessing slept through all this. And this is Bethany, the person who hasn't spoke yet, Bethany. So Bethany sleeps through the entire thing. But you've got this other girl who hears these little things happen, but she doesn't hear this massive struggle. And she sees someone leave. Now, what if Bryan Kohberger has come in the house because he's come to get someone else, or he's come to rob the house, and then got caught and left? Dylan has subsequently gone to sleep, and it's after she's gone to sleep that everything's happened. Because on one hand, you'd argue, the argument of the defence would be, well, hold on a second. The injuries that were sustained go hand in hand with a struggle, a fight, this massive... people have said, you know, they're now saying that Ethan was found, which I said early ago. God, I'm going to get hung. It. So look. So we've got a situation where she hears these other things, but she doesn't hear the struggle. So people are going to say, well, hold on a second. What's this? Are you mocking our Christina Randall when you say, "Y'all are my babies"? Definitely not. I've just stolen her catchphrase. I think she's absolutely fantastic at what she does. That bit, though, that's now mine. Yoink. Stolen. So, yeah, so the defence could turn around and say, well, wouldn't it be possible, Dylan, you heard the talking, you heard the dog being played with, you've heard someone whispering, so is it possible that that person who you saw in the house actually left? You've then gone into your room, locked the door and gone to sleep and slept through whatever happened. Because we know someone can sleep through it because Bethany must have slept through it. Do you know what I mean? This story has to be looked at. It has to be looked at. It has to be pulled apart. Because when they get in court, these are the things that they're going to be pulled apart on. These stories. You can't escape what's going to be asked. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But what are your feelings on it? What are your feelings on it? Hit me with it. What do we got? What do we got? Only thing that makes sense to me is she was off her face, indelible drugs, and wasn't sure if she was imagining or whatever, and went to sleep. When she woke up, phoned because she wasn't sure if it was real. Possibility. Certainly a possibility. Depending... What's that? Depending if Bethany had earbuds in, she could have slept through it. Exactly. And this... How can you be... They're going to say, how can you be someone in the house hearing the little things, but you don't hear the main event? Do you know what I mean? That's like going to the cinema and hearing everybody whispering. hearing exactly what they say, but when the main feature comes on, fucking miss it. Do you know what I mean? Who knows? Just something doesn't sit right with it. And we've also got this gag order and everybody being told to be quiet, and the family's now starting to push back on that. There's so many things now that are screwing this case into a tight ball where if someone slips up, defence are going to pounce on it. They have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that he went there and he did this crime and he left. But there is perhaps something that Bryan himself said, this is on the flip side of this, that may have been the thing that makes him look the most guilty. And that is that he had apparently said to his neighbour, didn't he, that this appeared to be a crime of passion. That was his point. That was his take on it. And I wonder whether he said that because, again, thinking what he does, what he studies, he knows that a crime of passion means that it was a spur-of-the-moment thing. So it takes away premeditation. So, was he testing the water with that? Who knows? But the fact that he was trying to push it as an ideology that it was a crime of passion, I don't know whether that was in his mind trying to fight this, it was a preconceived idea that it had, and this was indeed planned, because that's the thing that's going to get him the death penalty. But we don't know what they've got. We genuinely don't know what they have got. And the question is now, do they have a weapon? Do they have it? Is that the ace in the hole? They seem to have, 900 odd pages of stuff on him. I'd be interested to know what is in these 900 plus pages. I really would, because that's a lot of pages. Anyway, let's go in here. What do we got? Law enforcement have nothing. Co-packer probably killed them. How can you prove he didn't if you can't prove that Koberger did? Again, the burden of proof lays with the prosecution, and they have to be able to prove, like I say, beyond reasonable doubt that he did it. And from what we've seen so far, we just don't know. Patrick, how are we? I think Bryan said that to throw the neighbour off. When you know you've done something, you have a guilty conscience and are paranoid, everyone knows. And again, that's what I mean exactly, Patrick. That is getting someone's opinion as to whether they would buy this was a crime of passion idea. Again, a crime of passion is not premeditated. It's the heat of the moment. It's bang, and it's done, not premeditated. I'm not saying that there can't be a catalyst for it, but there is obviously, when this goes to court, there's going to be a huge difference in the outcome if they can prove premeditation than if they can't. I think that's what the prosecution are certainly going to be doing. Not only are they going to be looking to prove that he did it, but proving that premeditation was there. And maybe, again, that's the 900 pages. What else have we got? What do we got? We're rattling through. We've been together for 25 minutes nearly. Dylan is an accomplice to BK. Did you know something? I always thought this, Cindy. And a few people, I don't know whether anyone else has thought this. What if Koberger turned around and said she was? What if he said she was? Even if she wasn't. I'm not saying she is. Please don't think I am. But what I'm saying is, what if he said she is? How would she prove otherwise? How would she prove anything else? I don't know. The sheath, that word is gross. Knife holder. Who has seen the picture? The picture, if I say the picture from, I believe it was TikTok, it was on another channel. It was of one of the victims carrying a watermelon and someone else wielding a massive weapon. Put a number 1 in the chat if you've seen it, and a number 2 in the chat if you haven't seen it. I don't know why I went all quiet there. Because there is a picture floating about, which is quite interesting. Like I say, someone sent it to me. Let me have a look. If I can find out, if I can think. There's a 1, there's a 2. So 2 if you haven't seen this picture, number 1 if you have. A few 2s. So it originally appeared, it would appear... let me have a look. On another, what's going on? What are they showing me? Truth and transparency. There's a lot of 2s. Right, I might have to just cover my eyes. People know this camera's got eye detect on it. So if it sees my eyes, it won't focus on anything else. So I will show you this picture. And it's on my phone. I'll cover my eyes. Can you see that? Could everyone see that? Could everybody see that picture? Death by watermelon. I'm trying to see whether you saw it. Yeah, you would have seen that. I'll see it on the other screen now. So what do you think to that then? Yeah, so yeah, it appeared on Truth and Transparency. So, with regards to the knife holder, we'll stay away from saying sheath. Yeah, there you go. Finally caught alive, Carol H. You did indeed. Hello. Do it again, please. You want me to show you again? Look like a weirdo, don't I? Covering my eyes. What have I got? That is the picture. That is your picture. There you go. So, you don't need pictures like that floating around, do you? You don't need pictures like that floating around. I don't know. Turquoise, good point. Another channel said that shock doesn't last that long, but according to medical records, it can last for days to months of dissociations. It certainly can. It can't be ruled out. That is absolutely correct. But what you would generally find is if people go into shock that is going to last that long, then they probably wouldn't remember the details that she's remembered. Because shock, when you see things, is about blocking them out, isn't it? That's like being in an accident and not remembering the accident you was in, you know, like a car crash, and not, do you know what I mean? And not remembering it. This is like going into shock that was so bad that it lasted hours upon hours, but they just happened to remember what they heard, what was being whispered, that they'd come out, that what the person was wearing, their eyebrows. That's the bit that don't fucking sit right. I mean, sit right. Do you know what I mean? That's what doesn't make sense. And that's why some of these parents are getting a little bit upset. Do you know what I mean? There you go. It is. And when you start seeing they've got a massive machete in the house, do you know what I mean? It's that ain't a knife. This is a knife. Do you know what I mean? It's there you go. You've got to be thinking. So if this person was stalking these kids and was looking at their social media and looking at stuff, would they have walked into the house with a little K-bar knife, when they think, well, these could have a gun in the house. They could also have that massive, massive sword that I saw online. All of these sort of things. Someone did ask, I just want to touch on something very quickly. Someone did ask, why would the person who was wearing black, who had a mask on, have been wearing a mask if they planned on killing everyone? And my thought on that is that they were possibly wearing a mask to think about DNA transfer, saliva, things like that. It's the only thing that I can think about that. Tracy Lasser, you bragged too soon about the bleep button earlier. Yeah, it's that time, and I have a machete in my closet. Cindy Newman. So that's a message to everyone. Do not go into this lady's house. Right, let's have a look in chat. Well, who we got in chat? Let's have a touch on, is there any questions, any thoughts? Let's have a touch on some thoughts and feelings, what other people have got. Because at the moment, what can we do? We're speculating at the moment. There's a lot of things to think about. At the end of the day, we do not know what evidence they have, and we can only speculate based on what we think they have. And there could be a lot more. Dope Soul said it. There you go. That is, to stop DNA being in the house. Same person who went to all that trouble, though, drove their own car there, and they left some form of DNA on the knife sheath and then left it there. But at least they wore a mask. It's that, there's always something that lets you down. BK probably had the bloody dripping knife in his hand on the way out. That's scary. That's a scary sight, right? I've just got... that car, we've heard nothing about the forensics on the car, but can you imagine what we're talking about here? We're talking about someone who went in this house, done this crime. We can't truly fathom what sort of a mess that house was. And he's apparently walked and wandered straight out there in the clothes that he was in the house with. So he's wearing black. So what that is also telling you is that the clothes he was wearing when he did this were the same clothes he was wearing when he walked outside. Because Dylan claims that he was wearing all black. So why would you wear all black and a mask and everything, then go in the house and get changed again? It wouldn't matter what you had on underneath if you had, say, like an overall suit on that was covering you up. Do you know what I mean? They wore black, they went into the house, and she watched them walk out wearing black. So he walked out of the house wearing the same clothes that he'd done all this with, like people have just said in here. He must have had the damn thing in his hand and then walked out without leaving a trace of blood outside, got in the car and drove off. That car is going to be... It's going to be a dream, isn't it? It's going to be an absolute forensic team's dream. Cheers. There you go. Maybe he was naked. Dylan is a feckin' liar. Who knows? And this is the thing, Addy. This is what concerns me. Her story as a person who is talking about what she saw, that doesn't make sense. CDT saying here. An all in 16-minute time frame at the most. And to be fair, it weren't even 16 minutes when you think about it. Because from when the car was seen driving around and parking to then when it was seen driving off, that's not the amount of time that he spent in the house. And you've got to I just don't get it. Like, don't get me wrong. It's doable. Of course it's doable. But that's quick. That's quick. And not to leave any evidence outside the home. And like I say, the car. You got to kind of just take a second. Just to, like, I listen, like some of you guys will likely hear or listen to the likes of B Buster, Let's Read, Mr. Nightmare, and they send stories in, and some of these stories are true stories. You know, they're stories that have been submitted by people, whether they're ex-military who talk about things that they've seen in the military and they suffered by. It could be things that people have seen. You know, for those of you who have been on the channel for a while, you will know that when I was much younger, I know I look young, but it was a long time ago. You know, I'm 21 now, twice over and some. And, you know, a girl that I knew was brutally stabbed to death by her ex-boyfriend. And, you know, I see the details of that now, and that was horrendous. And you hear some of these stories where one person has been attacked, and it's horrendous. But we're talking about 4 people. Thank you so much, Nay. That is very kind of you. Totally party gear rolling around that joint. Has to be her response is dodgy as F. And I agree. You know, yeah, this is like what Joe said. Do you know what I mean? Which, you're not telling me that someone is suffering through these injuries and not making a sound. Not making a sound. You know, it's a difficult one. It's a truly, truly difficult one to try and get your head round. You know, he missed the DoorDash by the skin of his teeth. He just opened the door, went in, prepared to take on anyone. I think law enforcement were under a huge pressure to get someone. And do you know what I mean? This is, you can go down another rabbit hole with this, can't you? Because at the end of the day, there was a massive amount of pressure to bring someone in. You know, at the end of the day, this whole area, their bread and butter is that university. And it would appear that the more you dig and the more you look, these universities are quite willing to hide things for their greater good. You know, the amount of, you know, these students who are losing their life left, right and centre, especially in Washington State University. You know, and I'd done a video the other day, didn't I? Thank you very much, Aunt B. Thank you. You know, these poor children who are, and they are kids, do you know what I mean? They're young kids, and they're losing their life, and it's not getting, we're not seeing it. And like I say, that video I did the other day about the hazings and the things that are happening, and they're just the ones we know about. And you hear about what they've done and how these people have been, how they have lost their lives, like the girls who were told to walk backwards out to sea. You know, and some of these rituals that they do actually have names. And you think, well, something that's given a name and has done like that, this isn't the first time they've done it. You know, this is prolific. And you know what I mean? What do we got? How about how without forensics did they hone in on BK? I think someone tipped them off, mate. From what I've seen of other issues in these areas, they do have people who will grass people up, you know, and it seems to be something that's happened in the past. Like I was touching on hazing the other day, and there was students who were, thank you very much, Nikki, to polls, who were involved in, you know, drug trafficking. They were cocaine dealers, and they used, you know, people who were grassing them up. So I think someone tipped them off. But that's the dangerous thing, isn't it? If someone was tipped off, or if they were tipped off, could this have been a setup job? Could it have been a setup job? You've got to think, haven't you? You've got to think, if this was someone tipped them off, I just don't get it. I don't get it. But again, complete speculation. They could have a lot more. They could have an ace in the hole. And maybe that's what we're going to find out. Obviously, we're going to have to wait till June to find out. But it's going to be interesting what happens in the meantime. We've obviously got the non-contact order, which is very interesting, which seems to be protecting certain family members from being approached with reference to it, saying they've basically got nothing to do with the case, so they don't need to be contacted for anything. But again, it just seems that, I don't know, something just don't feel right. Just don't feel right. I think Bryan went there to just buy drugs. Dylan was selling. Yes, a setup. I just don't know. I think too harsh, and they made the car a 2015 Elantra. Do you know what I mean? It's so easy, isn't it? How many Elantras did they say that were in that area? Like connected some way, shape or form to the university? Well, over 70. It's absolutely crazy. Oh my God, what if one of his students who hated him just did the perfect crime and set him up? Again, you just don't know. You don't truly actually know if Brent Kopak, and I know I've said in the past that Brent Kopak, it doesn't seem that this was his thing, but you don't know. You just don't know. Sharona, thank you very much, Sharona. Yeah, you don't. The harsh reality is you don't. There's been a load of things that have happened that you just kind of think that's just a little bit strange. There seems to be a lot going on around there, considering that they were saying that, oh, nothing like this has happened for years. And all of a sudden, it's just the shit hits the fan around there, doesn't it? But what do we got? Let's have a chat in chat. I've got two chats. They run at different speeds. So if I miss you, I do apologise. I'll try and make that a little bit bigger. Let's try and make that a bit bigger. Well, it doesn't really make that bigger. Does it make it bigger? No, doesn't. Fuck. I mean, 22,000 white Elantras in the area. All of the students have them. That's the reality of that. All of the students have Elantras. Oh, shall I get rid of that? I do apologise. Look, I've got that. Smash that like button or I'll smash you. Been rolling across the screen forever. That's probably helped the likes, though, isn't it? 668 likes I can see on the screen there. Nice one. See? Threaten people, get what you want. I shouldn't really say that. No, look. You don't do that. Don't do that. That's not something that you go out and do. I didn't say it. I didn't mean it. I take it all back. You do not threaten people to get what you want. All right? Like, they do say that you shouldn't pray to God to ask for a bike. They do say you should steal the bike and ask for forgiveness. That's how that works. Not sure. That's what I've heard. This is just spiraling out of control. Take it all back. I need one of them machines, what they have in Men in Black. Shoot you and... Not shoot you. Like, fire... Light. Oh, God. Damn it. Demonetization coming up. There'll be no ads in this. I promise you that. Well, he's told them all to rob people, and he's also said he's going to shoot them and to steal bikes. Yes. Not good. Not a way to keep monetization on your videos. What do we got? Aunt B, your last comment. Let me have a look, Aunt B. I've got to try and find it, mate. Let's have a look. Aunt B, Aunt B, Aunt B. Aunt B, Aunt B, Aunt B. What day in February is your day of birth? Mine is the 5th. Mine is the 13th, Aunt B. My birthday is February the 13th. So make sure that you all send me money. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Then he asked everyone for money. No. I've got everything I want and need. I've got Mrs. Harsh, and that is everything I need. But remember, do remember, everybody, is it the Rose, Forever Rose, or Rose Forever? Link in description. You can order them. They last a year. All you guys who are in here, just think, you can get roses once and they last all year. So you only have to, if the partner wants flat, you just get them back out and give them again. They last all year. Do you know what I mean? That's it. You're digging deep. Yeah. Trying to change the subject. Talk about roses, you see. That'll help. What about Bethany? Why no one mentions the other surviving roommate? I believe that's because of who her parents are. Her parents, I believe, are someone of importance from around the area, and she's probably been told to keep her mouth shut. Leah Hates, thank you very much. Jamie, thank you very much also. I'll put that to the birthday fund. Dylan didn't need to use Anna's shared bedroom in 8 hours. Shared bathroom in 8 hours. Will have seen bodies if she did. P.S. Love your work, Harsh. Can't think of Sheath the same now. Yeah, that's it. Didn't leave the room for the smell, they did say as well, which some people have touched on. I did see that. Sorry, I didn't mention it. But yeah, do you know what I mean? Can you imagine the smell in that house? You know, they were saying the smell was pungent in the air. That was the first thing that kind of hit people as they approached that property. But then there was speculation about the front door being left open as well. Let's not forget that. I don't know how true that is. We don't know how true that is, but that is also an important factor. If that bloodied front door was open, that does, in my eyes, change everything. Because that, to me, was left open by someone in the house to try and get someone else to walk in that house and find what was in there. And I think that they run out of time, and it was a case of, fuck, no one's walked in. I mean, no one's walked in. And we've now got to make everyone aware of what's happened. And I did the video about what they said with regards to the 911 call. But there we go. Who knows? There's a lot of speculation. And that's all we're doing, you know. We don't claim anything to be factual, only our thoughts and feelings at this precise moment. Thank you very much, Dope. Like I say, 21, you're my favourite. Do you know what? I'm actually 43 years old. 43, not now, on my birthday, 43. Where has time gone? I think it put about 10 years on watching Jodie Sue Brown lives. They really did sort of put some years on me. Summer Wells' birthday as well, guys. So that was Summer Wells' birthday yesterday. She would have been 7 years old. And, yeah, it's 2 years, coming up to 2 years in June. That's crazy. 20 months missing. I have this evening, just for those of you who know about the Summer Wells case. Thank you very much, Kelly. She says, thank you, Harsh, and everyone for keeping the chat drama-free, always pleasant. That is the mods who do that, Kelly. They are fantastic. Do you know what I mean? They do a fantastic job. And they will tell you, they are not paid enough. It's because they're paid all. But when we're all famous, then things will change. Maybe we'll get them on the payroll. We'll be like Mr. Beast. We'll go round giving 10,000s out everywhere. But anyway, look, I've been talking to Dom Wells. He has messaged me. I've been speaking backwards and forwards. I'm not going to, at this moment in time, share everything, but I have offered to fund an investigation into what happened with Summer. And I've offered that service to Don directly. And we shall see. We shall see where this conversation goes. I'm not interested in bringing Don Wells on the channel. I'm not. You know me. I don't have anybody on this channel. the chances are I will at some point still be going on to the Pascal show with Pascal if I can get into a situation where I'm awake when he's awake, because a lot of the time when he does lives, it doesn't kind of work very well for me. I'm either asleep or it's in the daytime when, it just don't work. But I'm trying. We're trying. Oh my God, I do not believe one word out of Dylan's mouth. Social butterfly. You and me both, sadly. And I wish it was different. I genuinely do wish that was different. But it's I just can't. At this moment in time, I just can't. I've got nothing out. No, just can't think. Let's have a look. So, yeah, Aunt B, where's Aunt B gone again? Yeah, because Aunt B, you emailed me, didn't you? You emailed me, and it's your birthday, I believe, on the 2nd. So we've got another birthday. Put a number 1 in chat if you are an Aquarian. An Aquari. Is it an Aquarian? Or isn't it? I don't know. Aquariusium? Who knows? Yeah, I think Aunt B was the 2nd. What? I don't know what they say. Like they talk about star signs and all that, don't they? They say Aquarians are gobby fuckers. You know. We've been going for 51 minutes. So the last 10 minutes, let's have a look. Is there anything anybody wants to ask specifically? If there's a specific question, put a Q and then put your question. I'll try and catch it on one of these two things that are moving. Today, Harsh. Is that Aunt B? Here, it's today, Mr. Harsh. Happy birthday, Aunt B. Everybody wish Aunt B a birthday. Did you know something? And I'm not even joking. Aunt B. I don't even know what the fucking day is. I don't even know what the date is. So did I say the 5th and I didn't even know it was the 5th today? I will wake up on the day of my birthday and not even know it's my birthday. And that is straight up. I don't know what day it is. I've done that video, didn't I, the other day? I did. What's that? Christina and Harsh on a show together. Now that's a great concept. Would be completely and totally awesome. I'll have to approach her. She'll say no because you stole my catchphrase, you twat. There. Yeah, what was I going to say? My birthday. I will not remember. I did this video the other day and it was for Rose Forever or Forever Rose, whatever they're called. And straight up, I put the 13th of February as Valentine's Day. And it's not even Valentine's Day, that's my birthday. So done this beautiful video, done a beautiful introduction, wrong fucking date. Sweetie Pie, what do you think about the mum claiming to be in love with Bryan and writing to him? I think she's a... That's what I think of that. People have got a fascination with the macabre. I will give you an example, right? And this is straight up. This is an example. There was one of the channels had done a poll. I can't remember who they are off the top of my head. They'd done a poll and it was basically saying, look, I want to do some stories, but do you want them to be, it was like either like clean, gore-free, or do you want them to be proper gory and have all the details in them or something else? And everybody, it was like, we want the gore. We want to know all the details. And that summed up true crime in a nutshell. You know, if you're driving down the road and there's a car crash on the road, you're going to look out of the window and look to see what you can see, aren't you? Show of hands, and an honest show of hands. You're going down the road, and I'm talking about this. This is I want you to be honest. So you're going down the road. It's just said on the radio that there's been a horrendous accident. You're on that road, and as you go by, you look out the window and look. Number one, if you're a looker. Number two, if you don't look. And be honest. One, you're going to rubberneck, or two, you ain't looking. People do keep asking about Milo. Milo's in the house. I'm in the annex. He will be back. Once all the work is done, he will be back. Do not worry. Da-da-da-da-da. Cyberspeed, rubbernecker, latitude, rubbernecker. Look at all the rubberneckers. What we got? We got a number 2 in there. That's going quick, isn't it? Bonnie. Bonnie doesn't look. Put a number 3 if you think Bonnie's lying, because she's the only person who's so far put a number 2. So number 3 if you think Bonnie's lying. I don't know. IDK, number 2. Do you know what I mean? And that's it. Do you know what I mean? What do you think happened to Nicola Bulley, unless you already covered that earlier? I did cover it earlier. At this stage, I don't know. I don't know. I think there is I'm 90% sure she went in the water. I'm not 100% sure that she went, but I'm 99. No, not 99. I'm 90% sure she went in the water. So yeah, look, we've got a lot of ones who are basically saying, look, I'm a rubbernecker, I would look. You've got number 2s who are saying, I wouldn't look. And you've got the number 3s that are saying the number 2s are lying. Of course they'd look. They just don't want to tell us. And I just think that that's human nature. That is human nature. Animals is a completely different kettle of fish. Do you know what I mean? That's a completely different kettle of fish. Nobody wants to see hurt animals, because animals are genuinely nice 99% of the time, and that's not the same with humans. You know, that's there you go. Do you know what I mean? We have a fascination with mortality. Public executions, gladiators' fights. We enjoy seeing people's pain for an unknown reason. This is a documented fact. What it is, Joe, however, is that it's not for an unknown reason. It's because for that split second, people can truly say that there's somebody who is worse off than them. And people get a kick out of knowing that there's someone worse off than what they are. That's what it is. And that's human nature. You want to be better. You want to, you know, that's where jealousy stems from, isn't it? That's what they say. Beware those around you who do not clap when you win. And there's never a truer thing said. You know, you can have all the friends in the world, but I promise you now that there are people who will say they're your friends, but they don't want you to succeed, and they will secretly, behind your back, if something goes wrong, they will likely be pleased about it. And it's just human nature. And I think that's what all this is about, you know, seeing people hurt. It's knowing that you're all right and someone else isn't. It's horrible, isn't it? But that just seems to be it. Dope, you have to look even if you're looking ahead and it's coming up upon you. If you're not looking ahead, you're going to crash. Yeah, I agree. But people will look. Thank you very much, Tanya. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. I'll be able to buy some alcohol. I don't know if I can talk about alcohol. Can I talk about alcohol? I don't know what you can talk about on this platform anymore. I cry if I see a dead animal. If I see it get hit, I'll try to save. This is a true story, right? True story. Before we call it a night. True story. So I live pretty much in the countryside. You know, it's the countryside, and there's trees and stuff everywhere. And hitting animals is a real thing. You know, we've got deer everywhere, and they run out in front of you. And to the point where you're literally driving down the road. These are 60-mile-an-hour roads with trees either side, and the trees are lighting up like they got cat's eyes floating in them because of all the deer. And I had to go and pick up this lens the other night, and on the way home, I must have had to slam my brakes on 10 times because of deers coming walking up to the side of the road looking like they were going to come out. Straight up. You're going down the road. It's getting rarely. But yeah, that's what we do. What do you think of In and Harsh? I think, Dixie, In and Harsh could possibly be in protective custody. I think that's possible. Thank you, Donna. I have a nice garden. If you haven't been around the channel for a while, I do other videos out as well. I do videos in the garden. We go out, walk. I've got 360-degree cameras. Can anybody remember the videos that we did with a 360-degree camera? See, we do all sorts. We do all sorts here. It's just the weather in the UK doesn't really allow you to do a lot outside. But we're about to we're coming to a close. Is there anything, anyone birthdays we've got out? Is there anyone else who's got a birthday? Remember, Aunt B, has everybody wished Aunt B a happy 21st birthday? 21st birthday. Where do you live? I live in the UK. I live in the east of England. I had to think about that. East of England. Somewhere near the Queen. God rest her soul. I've got to remember. No. Oh, not that noise. The Queen. I live near the Queen. Why do you always do that to me? That machine. Always. Yeah, I live basically near one of the Queen's houses. And I can't pin your accent down. That's because I don't sound like where I come from. Even when I was younger and I used to go to the ice cream van, he used to say, "How long have you been in the UK? You sound like you're from Australia." I don't think I sound Australian. And I'd love to live in Australia, but they'd have to remove every single spider out of there. Not far from Essex. I live about 75 miles away from Essex. So with my driving, about 20 minutes down the road. Oh, fuck. Now he said he speeds. I don't speed. Always driving right. Happy birthday to all. That's it. You look like my cousin, so we may be related. I have got relatives in the USA. I do. For those of you who, again, have been around a while, you'll know. Florida and Nebraska. Fort Lauderdale and Lincoln. Norfolk accent. Bingo! Mark Pash has got it. Norfolk. That is where I am from. Norfolk. Not far from Sandringham House. So, Mark, you will probably know where that is. The Queen's residence, Sandringham House. I actually I suppose I'm closer to Prince William's house and Mahal. I think I'm right, like just down the road from that. What car do you drive? See, all the questions are coming out. What car do I drive? At the moment, I've got a black Range Rover Sport. Because I got it. I got it because Mrs. Harsh wanted something that would be easy to park. She said she'd like a mini Countryman, so I went and bought a Range Rover Sport. I do also have an Audi, but I don't have that here at the moment because it's wet, it's rubbish, and you can't drive in the wet. It'll just fall off the road. And I'll just be on here doing a live dressed up like a mummy. How far bench with phone from water's edge? You wouldn't fall, you'd have to walk. There's a distance, Troy. You wouldn't fall off the bench and fall in the water, if that makes sense. Sugar and spice. Just trying to catch some. These Australian now, I wouldn't say that's the accent, but your beautiful UK accent sure makes my nugget happy. My grandson, for anyone wondering. I've got one of them voices that animals like. I'm like a dog magnet and a young person magnet. But there we go. I think that's us done, is it? Is that us done? Someone's put a Q. Did you ever spot Princess Diana? Sorry about that. Astrid. Stayed there for a bit. Saw the residence. Nice place. Bowie even mentioned Norfolk Broads. Yeah, we got. I think there's pictures that I have of the boat. We go boating on the Norfolk Broads. Did you ever spot the princess? No, I didn't. I have shook hands. Oh my God, this is going to be terrible. I don't even want to tell you. I have shaken hands with Prince Andrew. He didn't try to touch me or anything like that. He didn't try and get me to go to any island, but he did shake my hand. The kids have met the Queen. I think all of the children have met the Queen. And I think Freya may have spoken to the Queen. But, yeah, Prince Andrew. What a claim to fame that is. Buddy and Spiffy, thank you very much for the super chat, buddy. Who else we got? Have I missed anyone? Tanya, Kelly, Leah, Jamie, Sharona, Nikki Two Poles, Nay, Carol, Avesmum, all thank you very much for membership and everything. Did you wash your hands? Did I wash my hands? That's a good question. No, I cut the fucker clean off. I mean, clean off. Not really, but I should have done. But on that note, go on then. Good question. What was that? Did I miss a question? Lee put a question somewhere and I missed it. Can someone tell me what the question was? Phoenix Rising, are there health issues in your family? Yes. Apart from Lee, in and harsh co-defendant. I don't know. Good question, Lee. Good question. He's gone off social media, I can tell you that much. So he's either codependent or co-defendant. So codependent, same thing. Or he's in protective custody because he's going to be a witness. I don't know what he's witnessing. Was he sweating? Inquiring minds want to know. Well, when I fell under his arms, Nelly, he was dry as a bone. Only kidding. No, I don't mean it only kidding. I didn't feel him up. Jesus, this has turned into a nightmare, isn't it? I'll talk about monetization. You two be like, you're fucking joking, mate. Fucking joking, mate. Love the pub. The Murderers in Norwich. Pretty cool. Yeah, good pub. Not far from Norwich. Used to go out in Norwich all the time. I used to manage DJs in London and in Norwich. I used to run guest lists and stuff like that in my younger years. Yeah. Your claim to fame, that's it. My claim to fame, shaking hands with that pervert. Question, cameras in the courtroom, do you think? Possibly. I hope so. I hope they do. How many clues given to date? Not many. What do you think about girls being silenced because they didn't agree with selling? I don't think anybody should be silenced for anything. Dope Soul, member, 10 months. Thank you all for being here. Love this community. We do have an absolutely awesome community. How many people have we had in here tonight? Over 1,000 people in here tonight. Hanging about, chilling out with us, talking about perverts and weirdos. And we've only got 4 dislikes as well, which is a new high. And you can guarantee that at least one of them is the glarer. For any fans of the glarer, don't worry, I don't hold that against you. Inan Harsh was allegedly a neighbour of the girls. Question, what do you think about the Murdoch case? I think that the last time I tried to cover the Murdoch case, that was the most boring thing I've ever watched in my entire life. I'm not going to lie to you. I think he did it, and I think his son helped him do it. And I'm only saying that because that's what I think. I'm not saying I'm right. I just, from what I can see, I think he did it, and his son helped him. Do you say shit or shite? It depends. I'm more of a shite guy. Any more questions? 5. You got 2 more minutes to get me some questions in. Q in front of it. I think that's possibly the motive. I missed that. Now we've got 5 dislikes. And you know why I've got 5 dislikes? Because I mentioned them. So people are now just being mean. Now just being mean. Listening to you say birthday. Yeah, I should. Birthday. Happy birthday, everyone. Thumbs up or thumbs down, still get credit. Absolutely. Gotta love your critics. Got to love your critics. And we do have a few. Anything more on Sean's case? There is nothing on Sean's case at all. Sadly, there's nothing on his case. They've obviously got the petition up to try and get it looked at again, but as it stands at the moment, there's nothing new. Question, I think it's possible that's why left sorority. Don't know. Question. Why leave phone on bench and walk a distance to water's edge? That's the issue that I have, Troy. If I'm brutally honest, that is what I struggle with. Because they're talking about the only reason would have been if the dog had gone in the water, but the dog was dry, and if she'd have gone to get the ball, but they're saying that the ball wouldn't have been with her because she didn't take the ball. So I shot that right in the... How do you take your coffee? Starbucks, cold. It's like I buy bottles of they're like from Starbucks. They're like caramel mackie, but something I don't know. I'll show you on the next live. But yeah, Starbucks. I love Starbucks. Any more questions? What do we got? Knife in hand when he walked out. I think he must have done, Joseph, if I'm honest. Whoever it was, I think. Or, I don't know, because you could argue that the sheath that was in the property didn't belong to the knife that did it. Because that's also something that you've got to think about. Can the prosecution prove that the sheath that they found was matching that of the injury sustained? Do you ever wish you lived in the USA? Yes, I do. I do. But the struggle would be where in the USA? I love the heat and things like that. So I think if I had to move to the USA, it would probably be Miami. And I know that's a little bit probably boring, isn't it, to say that I'd want to go to Miami, but I can imagine Miami weather and the beaches and stuff. It's that's where I'd like to go. But that is absolutely everything. We could carry on going all night, couldn't we? Questions, what do we got? Y-phone on bench and dog dry, someone push her. Again, we've covered that. We don't know. Don't know. That's the only confusion part. 1 minute warning. 1 minute warning. 1 minute. Harsh, will you say affidavit for sugar and spice, please? So the affidavit. Alpha David. Affidavit. Affidavit. Someone's... That's my British accent. Do you want me to say aluminum or aluminium? Ever been to Australia? No, I'd love to, but there's spiders. So get rid of them and I'll come. My friend actually lives. I've got 2 friends who live in Australia. And one of them, I'll tell you a story. And then we'll call it a night. And this is my friend who lives in Australia. So growing up, there was 2 brothers. And Alan was on his bike one night, on his scooter, and he was hit by a car. He was hit by a car, and they messed him up pretty bad. Now, they put him in the car, took him to the hospital, and left him in the car park of the hospital and drove off. And after that, he was he was in a bad way. He was injured very bad. And they were opening up, I believe it was a spinal clinic or something in Melbourne. And his girlfriend's parents were offered jobs there. And he moved to Australia with his girlfriend's parents. Now, he'd have been 17, 18 at the time. So, yeah, he moved. He moved. And that is true story. Yeah. Real bad accident. Nearly killed him. They took him in the car and just chucked him in the car park outside. And the car park to the hospital, by the way, is a long distance. We're talking about, to walk from there, even a healthy person, you're talking about a 5-minute walk. It's a distance. It's a massive complex. So, yeah, dropped him in the car park and fucked off. And, he now lives in Australia. And he tells me, he said about going over there, he went, yeah, come over. He went, come. I just said, I'd love to. I'd love to come over. Sign me up. I said, what you been doing? He went, well, I had to set a bug bomb off in my garden because we had a nest of redback spiders in the shed. I said, what are they like? He said, well, the redback spiders, if they'd have bitten our little girl, she could have died. And we have to put bug bombs about once a week or something like that, whatever he said. As soon as he said that, and I thought, no way. No way. So, no, that's me. I'll just be dreaming of going to Australia. Love watching it on the TV and love the accent, love everything about it. But when you've got things that can... Spiders are bad enough as it is over here and they can't do anything. Do you know what I mean? To go to a country where a tiny little thing with 8 legs can bite you and you die, or go swimming, you survive the spider bite, go in the sea and a shark eats you, or a jellyfish stings you and you die, or you got to put your shoes on and a snake bites you, or you go to sit on the toilet and a snake bites you. So many things can kill you there. I'll stay here. Stay in England. Stay in the house. Stay safe. And on that note, I'm going to say alligators are not friendly. No alligators either. So many things. So many things. And then we've got humans, who are the worst of all. And I don't mean Australians. I mean just in general, humans are horrible people to one another, and it would just be nice if they started being a little bit better to one another. We have black widows here. Yeah, see, they scare me. I'm still alive. Remember that person, Serena Hunter. She has said it's beautiful hair. Sorry, Sarah, Deborah. I clicked. I missed you. Florida has spiders, snakes, and gators. I know. That's why I don't go there often, only when I have to. It's beautiful hair, Harsh. I'm still alive. I hope you have just touched wood. Please get Real Harsh to 1,000 thumbs up on his live. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. You have been absolutely amazing. You are a brilliant community. To Aunt B, once again, happy birthday. Anyone else's whose birthday it is today, thank you and happy birthday for coming along. To all of you Aquarians out there. Aquarians, that sounds wrong. That's because it's so close to aquarium. Sounds like I'm calling you a fish tank. To all you fish tanks out there, have a fantastic evening. And like I say, thank you for joining us. And remember, y'all are my babies.